Hi guys, and welcome to another week of Fat Girl Yoga. This week we're going to be working quite a lot on our legs and we're going to be doing quite a lot of twists. So recently, especially over the last week, I've noticed that I personally have been spending a lot of time sat down, which is totally fine. You're at home, you want to chill out, you want to catch up on all the Netflix shows, that's totally cool. But when I sit down for a long period of time, I find that my legs get really achy and my spine gets really crushed and it's just not very comfortable. So sticking with the Fat Girl Yoga spirit, I thought we would get up, we would get moving, we'd get stretching and twisting and hopefully bring some of our attention to the areas that we've been neglecting for the last couple of weeks. So with that in mind, you want to make sure that you've got yourself a drink of water, squash, whatever you feel comfortable with. I personally prefer water, just so that if you need to stay hydrated, you can. We also want to make sure that we follow in the golden rules. Remember, I am not a yoga instructor. I have not been trained to do this. I am just very yoga passionate. And for me, I find that yoga combines the stress relief and the keeping the body moving that is so important in this time. So you want to make sure that you've got water to stay hydrated. If it hurts, you stop. Those are the two golden rules. It's also really important to remember that you don't want to push yourself too far. Yoga is a non-judgmental space. It's not about doing exactly what everyone else can do. I can't do a lot of stuff that other yogis can do, so go at your own pace. If you need to stop, stop. If it hurts, stop. But ultimately, as long as you can feel the stretch, that's totally fine. So we'll start with our normal vignettes. So we're going to come to the top of our mat. Take a deep breath in, roll your shoulders back, and we'll just stand in mountain pose for a while. So mountain pose, you want feet hips width apart, palms open, chest and chin up to the sky. And just take a few deep breaths here, grounding yourself into the space, feeling the strength in your body, slowly scanning through, seeing if you have any issues, anywhere that aches, anywhere that you would expect to feel pain. And we'll just scan through, check in with how we're feeling the strength in our bodies. And we'll take a deep breath in, bring your hands up, and deep breath out to heart center. Fabulous. Another deep breath in. Oh dear. And we'll swan dive down. So swan dive, remember we want to go all the way out. So all the way out, down, into a forward fold. Shimmy back. Now here, if you want to take a ragdoll, that's totally fine. You just want to grab hold of each of your elbows and just let yourself drop down. Let the full weight of your head drop. If you want to sway from side to side, we'll sway. That's totally fine. And then when you're ready, hands firmly on the floor and we'll take a step back. And then we'll follow through with the other foot so that you're in your high plank. And you can either drop your knees and we'll do a chest chin, or you can do a full chaturanga, which is in your plank, lower down slowly. I'm going to do knees, chest and chin. So slowly lower down. You want your elbows to be tucked in. Slowly lower down, and we'll pull up into our cobra. If cobra is too strong for you, or you feel like your back's not warmed up enough yet, we'll come into a sphinx. And if that's still too strong for you, you can come into a baby cobra. So whichever one you're comfortable with, and then we'll tuck our toes under, adjust your position if you need to, and go into your down dog. Now we are going to be doing quite a lot of work on our legs today. So if you want to pedal out the legs, that's totally fine. If you want to give yourself a little bounce to stretch your back out, that's totally fine. And then when you're ready, we're going to step in with the foot that we stepped back first with. So step it in. And then with your other foot, bring it to meet it. And we'll just swan dive back up and bring your hands to heart centre. Take a big deep breath and we'll swan dive back in a minute. Deep breath in, swan dive up, and deep breath out, swan dive down into your forward fold. We're going to step back with the other leg this time. So take a big step back and your other leg into your high plank. Knees, chest and chin, or full plank down if you would prefer. Up into your cobra. Tuck your toes, adjust your position if you need to, and up into your down dog. Again, if you want to rock the feet out, if you want to rock the legs out, that's totally fine. And we'll take a big step in. Oh dear. If your foot doesn't get to where it needs to be, just give it a little tap, that's totally fine. And step in with your other foot. Deep breath in. All the way up. And deep breath out to heart centre. Give it a shake out. Make sure you're feeling nice and toasty, all warmed up. Perfect. We're going to do a little bit of work on our legs and a little bit of twisting, so hopefully it'll stretch our spines out a little bit and get our legs moving a bit more. So, up to the front of the mat. Big breath in. And big breath out, swan dive down. And we'll take a step back. Now from here, you want to make sure that you're in a strong position. So, we've got our back foot at 45 degrees, our front foot facing forward, our knee is in line with our foot. We don't want to be wobbling either way because that's not good for our knee. You want to make sure that both legs are strong and that you're pushing this leg back, okay? That way we're going to be nice and balanced. So we're down here and we're just going to open up slightly. Now if you're a bit wobbly, you can either grab your shin or your foot, or you can have your hand on the inside or hand on the outside. It's entirely up to you and what you feel comfortable. So, just stretch it out. Personally, I like to push my arm against my leg. It gives me a little bit more leverage to get the twist in a bit deeper. And with this arm, you want to be stretching your full body. So it's a nice long line. Don't forget to keep powering through your back leg. And we'll just bring the hand back down. Perfect. Swizzle your back foot and place your knee down. And we'll go the other way. So, hand pushing into the floor. This one will have to be on the inside of your foot. If you can get it onto the outside of your foot, totally fine. Totally go for it. Personally, I think it's impossible. So, it's entirely up to you. So, we'll just have our hand here. And we'll make sure that we're still keeping our thigh nice and strong, but it's working, so you can still feel a stretch in this leg. And just open up. Make sure that you're keeping this line nice and long again. Deep breath so you can feel the twist. And when we're ready, we'll come back. Awesome. Now, if you need to shuffle your foot forward, shuffle your foot forward. And we're just going to sit here for a little bit and rock and bounce so we can feel a stretch along this back leg. Awesome. And then when you're ready, what we're going to do is slide our foot across and lower onto our leg like this, so that you're in like a question mark shape almost. And come back so that you're sat up straight. And we'll just lower down. If you can get onto your forearms, if you can get your head to the floor, if you want to stand up on your hands, that's totally fine. But we want to be feeling a stretch through our hips here and our hip here. So here and here. As I always say, if you can feel the stretch, it's totally fine. Just a few deep breaths. Now this is quite a strong pose, so if it's uncomfortable or if it hurts and you need to come out of it, that's totally fine, not a problem. And then if you're feeling adventurous, what we can do is pick up the back foot, grab a hold and just pull it towards us. And this will deepen the stretch a little bit. Maybe we'll go into mermaid next week, but for this week we're just stretching our legs out. A few more breaths. And lower it back down. Perfect. We're going to tuck our toes, swizzle our leg back through, and then we will come up back to our original position. And rather than leaning forward this time, we're going to lean all the way back so that you're sat on your foot, and point your toes up on this leg, point them up to the ceiling. And you should feel a stretch all along your calf and the back of this leg. If you want to pull your toes forward, that's totally fine. If you want to sit up straight, that's totally fine. Whatever feels comfortable for you. But again, we're just stretching our leg out. So as long as you can feel the stretch and it's not hurting, you're doing perfectly. One more breath and release it back. Then once we're here, what we're going to do is swizzle our foot in, come back onto this foot and swizzle this foot in, and we're going to do a yogi squat. If you find it more comfortable to start from standing, go from standing, that's totally fine. So you want your feet slightly more than hips width apart. If you're standing this way to your mat, just on the edges of your mat is perfect. So you want it slightly more than hips width apart. And if you're standing like I am, then hands to heart centre, and we'll just slowly lower as if our back is pressing into a wall until we're sat. If you want to stay here, that's totally fine. You can stay here like this. What we want to try and do is put our elbows into our knees and push. If you can go into a sumo hold, go into a sumo, and that's where you push your fists together. However, if you just want to stay here, that's totally fine. Some people can do a bind, so that's where you take your hand and you wrap it around either side and try and clasp them at the back. I am nowhere near that level, so if you can do it, fantastic. Post me a picture because I would love to see. But for now, we're just going to stay in our yogi squat, stretching out our hips, stretching out these muscles in the inners of our thighs. Take a deep breath. And then if you want to push up to standing again, that's totally fine. Or what we're going to do instead is place our hands on the floor, lift up, and then stand up. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is take a slightly wider stance, as wide as you can possibly go and as wide as is physically comfortable for you. Deep breath in, and just slowly, keeping your back straight, fall forward until you can touch the floor. If you can't touch the floor, if you're up here, that is totally fine. If you can touch the floor, that's fine. If you want to take your feet out a little bit more, go for it. And we're just going to hang here in a forward fold. If this is too much for you and you want to go into a normal forward fold, that's totally fine. So what we're going to do from here is place one hand in the centre, and with the other hand we're going to do our stretch up to the ceiling. So same as before, you want a nice long line all the way through, facing the ceiling, and just stretch up towards the sky. This is another quite intense pose, so if it's uncomfortable or if it hurts, then stop, that's totally fine. And we'll bring this hand back down, pop it in the centre, and go through with the other arm. A few breaths here just to get the stretch. And lower it back down. Then, what we're going to try and do is take our hands and put them the opposite way and try and pull ourselves through our legs. Again, like I said, if you're up here and that's comfortable for you, you can feel the stretch, that is totally fine. Just hold it for as long as you feel comfortable. And then when you're ready, just shuffle your feet back in. And we're gonna place our hands out in front of us in a nice long line and come up with a straight back. Awesome. Now, if you want to grab a drink, now is the time to grab a drink. So go grab a drink, grab a sip of water, that's totally fine. And then when you're ready, all ready? Perfect. So we're going to go onto the other side. So what we're going to do is come into our lunge. Remember, we want to push through the back of this leg, make sure this leg's nice and strong, feet and knee facing the same straight way in front of you, hips this way if you can, but if you're slightly open, that's totally fine. And what we're going to do is bring your hand down to the outside of the foot, inside of the foot, on top of the foot or on the shin, whatever is comfortable to you, and just slowly open up. Take a few deep breaths here. Don't worry if you lose your balance, that's totally fine. And back to the centre. And then if you need to lower your foot for this one, that's totally fine. If you want to stay upright, that's totally fine as well. What we're going to do is place our hand on the outside and open up. Perfect. Lower it back down. Awesome. Now what we're going to do is stretch forward so that you can feel the stretch in this leg, and just either sit here or have a little bounce for a while, just stretch this leg out slowly. And then when you're ready, we'll come into a pigeon. So you want your legs like the question mark, same as on the other side. We want to keep the shin of this leg as straight to the mat as we possibly can. So if you need to shuffle it, give it a shuffle, that's totally fine. And we're either going to sit up straight like this, on our hands like this. If you can get your forearms down, that's perfect. If you can get your head down, that's perfect. And we'll just sit here for a few minutes, stretching out our hips and taking a few deep breaths. Awesome. Okay, when you're ready, we'll sit back up straight, we'll tuck our toes, swizzle back through to our kneeling position, and then we'll sit back. And if you're still up here, that again is totally fine. As long as you can feel the stretch, you're cool. So, as before, if you want to grab the toes and pull them back to get a little bit of an extra stretch along the back of this leg, you go for it. As long as we're following the golden rules, it's totally fine. And then when you're ready, release that. We'll come back into our lunge position. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you do another yogi squat, but instead what we're going to do, oh dear, slippy carpet. Instead what we're going to do is we're going to do another forward fold. So you want your legs out wide again. I'm going to do it this way so you can see, legs out wide. But this time we're going to take our hands and clasp them behind our back. And as we forward fold, we're going to let our arms come up and either hold them there straight or you can take them over your head. If you've got quite stiff shoulders, tight shoulders, like I do, this is going to be slightly more difficult. So just go as far as you can. If you're still like this, that is totally fine. So we'll just take a big deep breath and try and get our hands over our heads. If you need to grab a sock or a strap or something to hold on to rather than having your hands clasped together, that's totally fine. You go and grab one. And And then when we're ready, we're going to release. Bring our hands up above our heads. Take a deep breath. And come back up in one long straight line. Oh, perfect. Give a little shake out. Fab. So now we're going to come down onto the floor and start going into our relaxation. So you can either go straight to the floor or you can do a vinyasa. We'll take a deep breath in. Get your swan dive on. Step back into your high plank. Knees, chest and chin. Up into your cobra. And into your downward dog. And then from here, we're going to just come to a nice seated position. Perfect. Right. What we're going to do is have our legs stretched out nice and long in front of us. Like this. We'll go this way. Nice and long in front of us. And we're going to bring one of the knees in. If you want to take it over your other leg, that's totally fine. Personally, I find it more comfortable to have it here. Deep breath in. Hand to the sky, deep breath out, twist round. Oh dear. And if you want to hold on to your knee, that's fine. Pull it into your body. If you want to take a bind, we're going to take the back hand and try and fit it round our body. If here is more comfortable for you, that's totally fine. And deep breath out. Back to sitting, we'll go on to the other side. So we'll bring this knee in. Deep breath in. And deep breath out, go into your twist. And just hold here for a little while. Awesome. And bring it back to center. Fab. We're going to lie down onto our mats. And bring our knees up to our chest. And just rock from side to side for a little bit. Massaging the lower back out. And then we'll take our knees to one side and open our chest out and our head to the other side. Just gently stretching out our spine, twisting our spine again. If you want to bring your hands out wide, then you go for it. I have mine at a cactus pose because there's not a lot of space in my tiny little flat. And take a deep breath. Bring your knees in. And we'll go over to the other side. And don't forget that we want our head facing the opposite way. Fabulous. Knees back in. Now, you can either lie straight flat like this, or you can have your feet at diamond position. Personally, I prefer my feet at a diamond position. And we'll just lie here for a few moments, letting the work that we've done with our body sink into the muscles, let the muscles do their work. Maybe take a few deep breaths and scan the body. See how you're feeling, see if any aches and pains that were there before are still there. Just take a few deep breaths, focusing on our breath. If you want to count them, we'll just count to 10. So inhale is 1, exhale is 2, inhale is 3, exhale is 4, inhale for 5, exhale for 6, inhale for 7, exhale for 8, inhale for 9, and one last time, exhale for 10. And just take a couple of moments to let all of the negativity, all of the things that your mind have been holding on to, just let them go from your mind and totally relax your body into the floor. And then when you're ready, we'll start wiggling our fingers a little bit, maybe wiggling our toes a little bit, give our legs and our arms a little shake, and we'll just roll over onto one side in a fetal position, whichever side is more comfortable for you. Take a few more breaths here, and then when you're ready, come up to sitting. We'll do a few more breaths, maybe rolling the shoulders out, maybe rolling the head out. And then when you're ready, one last breath in and exhale. Namaste. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining me for another session, guys. I'm going to try and keep you posted at least once a week, just so that we can keep our bodies moving, keep our minds stress-free. If you want to go back and watch any of my other videos, then that's totally fine. If you have any suggestions of poses that you would like to try out, or any particular areas of the body that you want to work out a little bit more, just give me a message or give me a comment below and I'll see what I can do in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye.